For people that haven't eaten it, it's unique. You know, a lot of people think of barramundi as a bit of a muddy flavoured fish, but the wild barra doesn't have that at all. It's extremely like a clean eating fish with, you know, a beautiful flavour to it.
This is Fish Tales, a seafood podcast. I'm John Sussman. The 1st of February is a marquee date in any true seafood lover's diary. It marks the opening of the wild barramundi season in Queensland and the Northern Territory. Although this iconic fish is found in many tropical waters around the world, as Australians, we like to call it our own. The name barramundi, after all, is Aboriginal for large-scaled fish. The annual commercial barramundi fishing season in the Northern Territory and Queensland is from the 1st of February to the 30th of September. The fishing area is restricted to waters seaward from the coast, river mouths and legislated closed lines. Barramundi are a Euryhaline species, meaning that they are able to tolerate a wide range of salinity levels and can live in both freshwater and saltwater environments. This makes them a versatile and important species for both commercial and recreational fishing. They are known for undergoing a process called sequential hermaphroditism, where they change their sex from female to male as they mature. It is a combination of starting life in the freshwater and moving to the ocean, its constant moving and unique diet as one of the apex predators of the northern waters, and its age that contribute to a flavour and texture that is what the myth and the legend of the mighty barramundi is built on. Cameron Berryman runs Darwin-based Wild Barra Fisheries, a progressive business which was established to recreate this amazing fish's reputation as one of the iconic Australian seafoods.
I'm Cameron Berryman from Wild Barra Fisheries, located in Darwin, Northern Territory. Wild Barra bought barramundi licences up in the NT about 3 years ago, and we were lucky enough to secure 70% of the fishery fairly quick. So we're sort of set up and trying to create a name for wild caught barra into the market Australia-wide, and with dreams of exporting one day.
Some kids get into the fishing industry due to their passion for fishing, career opportunities, family tradition, or education and exposure. The fishing industry offers a variety of career paths and can be fulfilling for those who enjoy the outdoors and working with their hands. It's important for kids to receive proper training and education in the industry to work safely and sustainably.
I was put out on a work placement at school, and my father knew someone and placed me out on a crayfishing boat, and I decided that as soon as I finished school that's where I was going to do. I was going to go and work in the marine industry, whether it was fishing or anything else, and then I went into marine tourism, working in the tourism industry, and then followed a commercial marine path, skippering boats around Western Australia, and then went back to the fishing side about 5-6 years ago.
For many years, the wild barra fishery in the north of Australia was regarded as one of the country's wildest, with a range of Crocodile Dundee type characters who, whilst committed to the fishery, lacked scale and resources to allow the fishery to shine to its brightest. Wild Barra Fisheries, under the stewardship of Cameron, is transforming this once wild fishery to an example of world's best practice.
Look, the barramundi fishery, it's an iconic species around Australia, and we decided it's sort of one of the last fisheries that hasn't got a majority holder, and it was still pretty raw, the fishery, so we decided to go in and try and mould it into a top-end fishery. It was an eye-opener. We bought in and we were concerned about the way the fishery was managed and the way it was headed. So we had to make a decision to buy a majority share in the fishery to try and have a voice to direct the fishery in the way we wanted it to go, and work with fisheries in the NT on this. So we've managed to get a MAC review underway with fisheries, and you know, we're trying to make the fishery a sustainable fishery and a fishery with a great reputation.
Commercial barramundi fishers use a gill net method to catch barramundi. The fishery is highly regulated and includes restrictions on the size and number of gill nets that can be used, as well as the time of the year, location and where the gill nets can be deployed.
It's a gill net fishery at the moment, and basically we have mother boats head out which have 2 to 3 dories attached to them, and they're working up to about 1,500 metres a net per mother boat. All the rivers and stuff are shut in the NT, so we fish the bays, as well as, the Greater Darwin area is closed as well. So we're fishing right down towards the Queensland border, Roper River. 3-4 days trip out of Darwin is where we're fishing most of our boats. But we find the fish is a lot cleaner because we fish the bays and that we're not getting that muddy textured fish from up the rivers. So they'll fish the low tide, so they'll go and set their nets an hour and a half before low tide. And then they'll just monitor the nets and keep pulling the fish out as they can, and then they'll let the tide turn for an hour or so and retrieve the net. Once they've got the fish back on board, obviously all the fish goes into the brines, and then we process at sea. But we're currently converting the processing at sea to shore processing. So we're creating a processing facility up in Darwin where we can process the fish fresh in Darwin to how restaurants want it. We understand people want portions. We understand some people want skin on, some people want skin off. So we can't do that at sea. So we're trying to set up an establishment where we can do that all on shore.
The commercial wild barramundi fishery is not for the faint-hearted. Fishermen operate in mostly remote, wild and dangerous conditions. Cyclones, wild animals and intense heat and humidity are but a few of the challenges the fishermen face.
Obviously a lot of it's Aboriginal land out there, and we've got permits and stuff to operate where we operate, and a lot of areas are closed off. And this time of year it's cyclone season. We're really pushing the limits with weather to be out there, and there's not too many places to hide with the rivers closed off to us. So it takes a lot of monitoring to make sure that the boats are safe and our crew are safe out there. And we've been lucky this year. We've got some good weather, but no doubt there'll be another monsoon or something come through and the boats will have to park up. I've had guys report, 18-foot crocodiles hanging off the back of the nets and playing tug of war with them. They've got, a bunch of crocs in their bunch of barra in their mouth at one end, and the boys are trying to retrieve the net at the other. So yeah, the boys do tell some unique stories, as well as saw sharks and things that they've got to try and get out the nets alive, and it's certainly makes it interesting job for the guys.
Wild barramundi is considered delicious due to its delicate and mild flavour, firm and flaky texture, high nutritional value, versatility in cooking and sustainable sourcing. Whilst there are many excellent farmed barramundi in the market, a great wild barramundi is a truly unique eating experience.
Oh, look, we believe the best fish come from down the Roper River way. They're really healthy, nice, good-sized fish. And it's a constant sort of flow out of that river system. So we fish out the mouth of that river system, and it seems to be constant all year round. It's just whether the weather allows us to get down there in the early part of the year is the only issue. On a great day, they'll do 1,000 kilo of fillet out there. On a real good day, that's between barramundi and king threadfin. On an average day, it'll be 100 kilo of fillet. For people that haven't eaten it, it's unique. A lot of people think of barramundi as a bit of a muddy flavoured fish, but the wild barra doesn't have that at all. It's extremely like a clean eating fish with a beautiful flavour to it. And it's tough. We've got to compete with aquaculture products as well as imported products. And when people actually taste wild caught barramundi, a lot of them question whether it is barramundi. It's a complete different taste. You probably saw stories 3-4 years ago of fishermen being stuck with product on their boats and not being able to sell it. We've been lucky where we've entered the market. Obviously, COVID had an impact on us operating, but it eliminated a lot of that imported stuff off the market, and we'll manage to create more of a market for the wild caught. The price has gone up over the last couple of years, and we're able to move the stock quite steadily. So, we're sort of happy where the market is at the moment, but obviously we're hoping to grow it into more of a value-add product as well.
The commercial barramundi season is closed during certain times of the year to allow the fish populations to recover and to ensure long-term sustainability of the fishery. The closure from October to February guarantees the sustainability of the fishery. To accommodate the closure, Cameron processes and freezes inventory to provide customers throughout the year.
Yeah, we're closed from the end of September through to the 1st of February, and that's tough, Obviously, we've got to try and stockpile some product to keep our regular buyers supplied through the off-season, but as well, all our crew and stuff, we need to try and create work for them. So, 4 months shut down, a lot of operators struggle with it. There's no income for those 4 months. And obviously we've had to develop some good infrastructure and stuff to store product and make sure we've got enough to dribble out to the market in that off-season. We land all our product into Darwin, and then it's distributed Australia-wide. Our main markets are Perth and Darwin at the moment. But as I say, we're slowly breaking into markets in Melbourne and Sydney. Whoever serves our fish, we try and get in and have a taste. They all cook it different ways, and some of the chefs out there have fantastic ways of presenting it. It's incredible. The barra wings are my favourite. There's one restaurant in Darwin that does peri barra wings, and it's quite an incredible taste.
Attracting young people to the fishing industry in remote Australia is challenging due to factors such as remote location, physical demands, competition from other industries, a lack of training and development opportunities, and negative stereotypes. Addressing these challenges and promoting the positive aspects of the industry is crucial for attracting young talent to the fishing industry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been real tough. We've managed to latch onto a couple good guys and sort of look after them along the way and try and get them to stick around. We've just, as we get young guys that show good potential, we put them through their tickets and what have you to try and encourage them to stick around in the fishery. Doesn't always work, but, we've got a young guy out with us this year who's gone from a deckhand to a lead hand, and now he's skippering with us, and it's great to see. He's been with us since day one, and now he's out there skippering one of our boats. Some of the older fellas are still deckhands. They don't want to change their ways. We've got a couple, 50-odd-year-old deckhands out there, but they just love the fishery and love being out at sea, and, they've sampled every fishery known to man out there, and that they're still working in the barramundi fishery is a great story.
The wild barramundi fishery is a shining example of a well-managed, sustainable fishery. Internationally, a determining factor on how sustainable a fishery is depends on the fishery biomass, or how much fish there are before fishing. The exact level that deems a fishery sustainable can vary depending on a number of factors. As a generalisation, any fishery that leaves more than 75% of the biomass unfished is regarded as highly sustainable. The wild barramundi fishery in Northern Australia is fished at much lower levels than this. With plans to secure the fishery's status as a world-class sustainable fishery, developing a premium export market is an obvious next step for Cameron.
It's extremely sustainable. We got informed by fisheries at the start of this year that the biomass of barramundis are 88% and king threadfins above 92%, I believe. So extremely sustainable and not even scratching the surface of it at the moment. Our aim is export approval, and we're hoping for some more certainty from fisheries with the MAC review that's going on at the moment. And if we can get more certainty, obviously we're going to try and get some more fish to the market. And if we can develop our export market, that'll be an absolute bonus.
Commitment to a job embodies a set of attitudes, behaviours and values that show a dedication to the role, responsibilities and goals. Cameron Berryman is a next-generation fisheries professional whose passion, drive and love of his fishery is to be regarded. Working with one of the world's most iconic fish, his vision to see both the fish and the fishery recognised globally as the world's best seafood is an inspiration.
I love the challenge of creating a better product, creating a better fishery, and getting a better dollar for the fish. It's a challenge, and we know we're out, starting on the back foot, but we just hope that one day people will read the story of Wild Barra Fisheries becoming a leading fishing company in Australia.
The season is open. Eat some wild barramundi and understand what the myth is all about. This is Fish Tales, a seafood podcast. A Deep in the Weeds production. I'm John Sussman. Follow us on Instagram at Fishtails Seafood Podcast, or email us at fishtailspodcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay tuned for more tales from beneath the surface of the seafood world every Friday on your podcast app.